Hey, what's up, guys? Mike's here. So, this is the final part of hashtag Back to School 2016. So, what's gonna happen for this part 4? Schedules. And I will tell you about what are my schedules. So, the schedules that I have to follow is gonna be A to F days. So, we're gonna give you guys what's gonna happen for A to F days, and then we'll see. I'm gonna give you what are my what's gonna be happening for my A day, happen in my B day, C day, D day, E day, F day. And it's gonna be a cycle. So A to F days, it's just gonna be a cycle. It's gonna go over again. So I'm gonna tell you guys what are my schedules based upon the schedules that I have right there on my book, and I'll tell you guys what's gonna happen because I will be hearing it in my own voice. Okay, let's get started. Okay, here are my schedules. So what's gonna happen for the A day is following. So I had to go to the homeroom, and when it started the first period, I had to go to English 3. It's in room 415 or 416. And in second period, I will go to course in room 112A. And in third period, going to the U.S. History and Government. It's room 405. And in fourth period, I have study hall on room 411. And in fifth period, going to studio and drawing and painting. That's a new one. It's room 424. And then I have the first lunch. I'm on lunch 1. It's room 125 at the back. And then when it comes to 6L, I have to go to Earth Science. And so go to 6L and L3, I have Earth Science, room 314. Then 7th period, I'm going to Algebra 2. And then 8th period, I have Web Design, room 201. Great. For B Day, it's same thing. I have to go to English 3. Period 2 will be the study hall, room 415. And then I have US History, and then followed by Phys Ed, room 223. And then student join painting, and then lunch, Earth Science, Algebra 2, Web Design. Alright, in C days, I have English 3 again, I have course, US History, lab, I have the Earth Science lab in room 314, the same room as the 7th period. Drawing and painting, so drawing and painting, then lunch, and then Earth Science again, Algebra 2, and then Web Design. And then D Day is English 3, Study Hall, US History, Phys Ed, Student Drawing, Lunch, Earth Science, Algebra 2, Web Design, same thing. E Day is English 2, Course, US History, Lab, Student Drawing, Lunch, Earth Science, Algebra 2, and a Web Design. And then F Day will be English 3, the Study Hall, US History and Government, Phys Ed, Student Drawing, Painting, Lunch 1, Art Science, Algebra 2, and then Web Design. So there will be the same, I think that there are some differences, and I have a little bit confused on what was happening here. English 3 might have the same day, and so does the fifth, and so does my fifth period. 6E, 6L, L3, 7, and 8 will have the same thing as the rest of it. Only in period 1 and 3, and then 5 to 8. It will be the same thing, except for periods 2 and 4. Because in period 2, I will have a course available on A, C, and E day, and I have study hall on BDF days. And in period 4, I have 3 courses. I have study hall available on A days, only in A days. I have Phys Ed BDF days, and I have the lab, Earth Science lab, C and E days. Because last time I had the bio lab on A and B days. Now I have Earth Science. This time, Science Lab. This time it's C and E days. There are lots of differences, and I will be in first lunch. Last time I went to school, I'm on third lunch, and right now I'm on the first lunch, so I'll be going lunch early than what I expected. Okay, that should cover everything up. I will talk to you about what is the difference between what's going to be the life of the its differences the life between the middle school and high school. So we're gonna have to check it out. Back and I'll see you there. Okay, here are your 10 differences between middle school and high school. I got this source right here of howtostopworks.com. What happens? Right, the transition from middle school to high school marks a pretty exciting in a time in child's and parents' life, but it can be scary too. It's not just a move to a different school, but it's a whole new environment. The beginning of high school can be overwhelming and confusing, and not just because the buildings are physically bigger, the campus is unfamiliar. Kids live in new school bubble for the jungle of high school. Not only have to deal with new teachers and academic demands, but also an entirely different set of students, some of whom are 3 years older and much more mature. Yet, it could be more complicated if your child doesn't make a transition smoothly, because some of these kids will fail ninth grade, then ninth grade, and then you have to repeat all over again. So there will be 10 differences of what's like between middle school and high school as a student. Number 10 is more kids. One of the scariest things moving from middle school to high school is that there will be more students moving to one school. And it's not enough to make a move from a 3 grade school into a 4 grade school. And then there will be more middle schools from one district will oftenly dump to high school. There will be some of them will be strangers, and you don't know who they are, don't know who their names are, and you will be remember faces, not their names. So it's a hard time for me to say that. It will be overwhelming to see that there will be a new faces with so many people around you. It is pretty attentive about easing this transition. And it's very hard, and it's not hard to see how kids can get lost in the shop bowl. There will be lots of people going on to one school because it would be terrible if there's a lot of school. There's a lot of students moving to one school. Number 9 is a larger class size. You know, the high schools have higher enrollments than middle schools, so it stands to reason that the individual classes are going to get bigger too. Student to teacher ratios are very widely ratios across the country, but in general, high school classes are larger than middle high school classes. It might not be much, but it does make a difference. Jump from 15 student class to one with 20 kids doesn't seem like that huge of a deal, but it does result in things in feeling a little more impersonal and less one-on-one interaction with the teacher. But there's definitely a lot less hand-holding in high school, so that's a problem. All kids are expected to be more responsible and independent. Today, in theory, don't need as much attention from their teachers. Kids who are not quite ready for the task can end up falling through the cracks. That is horrible. Alright, next one is 8. Larger workload. So the 8th grade teachers seem to spend an inordinate amount of time trying to make it clear to their students or trying to scare their students, however you want to look at it. There's going to be a lot more homework in high school. True, but not true. Well, some true, some not. And they do this for a reason. There is a lot more homework in high school. I said that already. Kids who aren't ready for it can be in for a nasty shock during the first month or so of ninth grade. You know it's going to be a lot of ninth grade look like. The increased workload, combined with the stress of new environments, schedules, expectations, teachers, and classmates, can really throw up some kids for a loop. So it's especially important for parents to be in their game during this transitional time. When it's transitioned to becoming a high schooler, it changes. Life's going to be changed. 7th will be oldest to youngest. So the 8th grade, especially the last couple of months, is a good time for some kids. They're the oldest and hence coolest in the school, and take any opportunity to lord this fact over anyone they deem to be beneath them. That's like, telling no, for everyone. But when September around goes around, they discover pretty quickly how demoralizing it can be plummet from head of the pack to bottom of the barrel. For this and the other reason we just discussed, many kids find themselves floundering in the ninth grade. Schools have tried to combat this phenomenon by separating freshmen from the crowd just a little bit. They institute ninth grade academies or small class sizes to maintain some of that middle school feeling for a while longer. Class choices. In most middle schools, with their emphasis on community building and nutrition, kids don't get much choice in what classes they take. Students might be put in different groups based on skill level, but in general, there's a little variation in the courses. 6th grade is American history, 7th grade is pre-algebra, and that's about that. High school is a whole new ball game with seemingly endless choices, which is exciting, obviously that can be overwhelming. And the scheduling is always tough too. What happens if your trombone playing child is also a math whiz, and advanced trigonometry is at the same time as band practice? Or like physics conflicts with French. There might not be an easy answer or quick fix, but if parents, teachers, can work together, they can create a balanced schedule. To know where you are, to know where you're on the right track, to know what time it is, to know if you have the right schedule that you're looking for. 5 is parent involvement. Think that as academic demands increase in high school, so might parent involvement. You've been thinking wrong. Parent involvement actually decreases during the high school years. That's hurt. One reason is that high schools often don't court parent involvement as much as elementary and middle schools do. Wow. It's just more hands-up type of environment. And it's also commonly assumed that their contributions aren't needed as much because kids are older and more responsible. So if the kids were getting older, you have to be more responsible for yourself to do whatever you want. But not so. Many students have shown that parental involvement as a major factor in their children's success. So go ahead and volunteer for yourself. Your kids might be embarrassed to have you around, but it's for their own good. Funny thing that there will be a lot of things that they won't be excited as much as you are. 4. Grades count. People often refer to middle school as a bubble, in quotation marks. Students are doing their reading and writing in arithmetic, of course, but sometimes the process is emphasized more than the end result. And they are learning about themselves to secure their own little community themselves and not focusing on the outside world. But it changes, but it all changes in high school. The goal is pretty clear: going to college. No fooling around. There's no fooling around. Some students, to be sure, are grade focused from day one, so focusing on what's their grade. So this change in objectives and can be exhilarating. Find all of those A's count for something. But however, it can be jarring for a child who might not been all that concerned about grades. So once again, it's going to be up to you, parents, and it's job to underperformers to step up into the plate to know what are the grades that you have graded. Sometimes you might pass, sometimes you might not. If you pass, that means great rewards will come. If you have suffered the grades, they're gonna take away all the stuff that you have. So they're gonna take away all the privileges, and you won't do anything like that. But these kids have to focus hard. But I had to focus hard. High school had to focus hard too, very, very hard. So that Life is gonna get better. Number three is new teachers. uh, for ninth graders with the new environment, bigger class size, and increased academic demands. They had to juggle up with the new teachers, brand new teachers. In the middle school, kids probably have at most 2 or 3 different teachers per day. But in some high school, as this even kicks up with a few notches. Now that they can have 6 or 7 teachers each day with all their own methods, standards, and workloads, moods, or idiosyncrasies. It's really no wonder that grades plummet and dropout rates soar in ninth grade. So even while you stay on the top of the job's work grades, remember to be understanding that this can be a rough time. It's gonna be a rough time. But once they hit 10th grade and 11th grade though, you can really crack the whip. Now what's live between the ninth grade and 10th grade and 11th grade is more complicated, and there will be new teachers you have to focus on. If they're having new teachers right here, you're gonna have to face out with that new teacher because you don't know who they are, don't know who likes to teach you something, but still, it might be the same thing. Two will be sports. Sports are one part of high school that they can be parked squarely in the exciting spot. So most middle schools do have sports teams. They'll bring the school to life, but they don't bring the schools to life like high school sports can. It's like switching in focus with academics. Well, sure, middle school sports having fun, but high school football game is a real deal. It's kind of a real deal. If your child is an athlete, sports school events offer lots of opportunity for social interaction with new classmates. Oh yeah, and also a taste of school spirit never hurts. Showing your school spirit, yeah, doesn't hurt that much. And it gives kids a start a new identity, which can make the transition a little less painful than what you thought. Alright, here's number one. Number one is peer pressure. You knew we were going to get this one sooner than later. Peer pressure rears its ugly head pretty early in any kid's life. But the stakes are certainly raised in high school. The stakes are high. Pressure, drink, and do drugs certainly shows up for some during the middle school years. But kids and parents soon realize that those concerns are small potatoes compared to what's lurking in high school. And it's not only about illegal substances like clothes, eating, cheating, you name it. Coming to peer pressure can quickly derail an academic career. Ouch. But it's a major factor in many dropout cases. There will be a lot of dropout for high school. That's not good for you. As always, parents need to be vigilant and most importantly, keep the lines of communication open. Keep these lines a little bit straight so that it's going to tell you what are the new stuff that they will have to focus on. That's everything that we had to cover for all the 10 differences between middle school and high school. There have some another differences here. When you are middle schoolers, you'll always have to ride the yellow bus. The yellow bus is going to school, but there will be lots of kids like yelling, and the bus drivers and the assistant have to tell you to sit down, keep quiet, or put your seatbelts on. Happen, or sometimes it might be pulling over. That will be way bad. That will be way worse. Then when it comes to high school, either you're gonna have to ride a bus or you just have to walk yourself to school. Ride your bus to school and home, and or walk yourself at home if you're near. And then when it comes to lunch, they will have the same lunch that you have. Or bring your own lunch. That could be difference between your middle school and high school. That's the whole thing difference here. You could go in line and have the school lunch, or bring one of your own and it's completely up to you. So that's everything that we have to cover. So it's all good and it's done. That should cover everything off for the whole series of hashtag back to school. So you know about everything the back to school, it's all of them. So you already know the part one, you already know what are the things that you might need and tips for how to make a back to school even more better. I just feel like there are lots of things in here when you make some differences and make a life for it. Um, Part two is exposition versus reality. You gotta have to know what it should have been like for your school year, and what it actually look like. And you're gonna have to compare it to what will be happening. And in part three, I told you all about my courses. I told you about my courses, and I know where to go, and I know where I want to locate. And in part four, this part is giving you all the schedule to what's going on for me or for myself, and giving guys differences between a middle school and high school. There are lots of differences between middle school and high school, but it changed a lot. Okay, guys, that is all for the whole series of hashtag back in school 2016, and I hope you have a good grade. I hope you have a wonderful first day of school, and I hope that's the first day of school is even more better than what you're expecting. And I hope this school year as well, great, even more better than what you ever think of. Well, that's it for me now, and I'll see you guys next time. So long. Have fun.